Good Sunday afternoon. I'm not on time, but I'm not 3 hours late. Today I'm coming from my bedroom. Back there, right there, is a certificate to where I was trained to be a court-appointed special advocate for kids in foster care. I represented them and made sure they got everything they needed. This is my hunting license. That is my pardon from all the things I did when I was younger. This is an award I won right here to Futures from Felons for some achievements. This right here, up there, is my ordination. I've been an ordained minister since July of 2007, and then this is my GED, high school diploma, that I was telling y'all about last time. All right, I'm going to wait a few minutes here, and what I'm going to try to do is get as many people on here as possible that might want to hear me run my mouth a little bit. Ha ha ha. I'm going to do a little testimony and talk about the good things of God. Wait just a couple more minutes. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I asked you guys to just share this video for anyone that might need to hear a testimony. If you like, I'm not getting any points or money for likes or shares. I just have a desire in my heart to just share whatever God gives me to the best of my ability. I am not necessarily a Bible scholar, but I do love the Lord, and I do have my own personal studies that I have done. And I have recently watched a video of a man that had been ministering for 70 years. He was 90-something years old, and he had went to theology school, and he said, so he was asked, what would you tell your younger self? And he said, not to go to seminary. I'm like, what? I mean, why not go to seminary? But to read the Bible and pray. Read the Bible and pray. You know, the Bible does talk about pre-requests for pastors, deacons, and such. But I think overall, it's a fair assessment to say we're born-again believers that we should be able to teach. And I guess every organization has their own idea what that looks like. Being able to teach is, you know, knowing something about God's dealings with the old covenant or the Torah, whichever you prefer. And don't get mad at me if I say it in a way you don't like. You're welcome to comment on this video, and people can see it. You can correct me, just don't get mad at me. That's just harmony, right? That was the first video that I made. And one of the things I want to go ahead and square up right from the get-go, I'm going to wait about another minute or two, is this. I'm going to do my best to get through, as I always do. You may look at me and say, man, is there something wrong with this dude? Yes, there is. After many years of trauma and drug abuse, I have a brain injury. I have a portion of my brain that does not work. And so sometimes it's a good day, and sometimes it's hard to get through. Like today, I'm a little stuttery and my thoughts are a little scrambled, but not like it was last Sunday. I was really all over the place. So, but that don't disqualify you from anything. Continue to speak. If you have a heart to speak, I encourage you to throw some videos up. You want to do a testimony and you want to post it in the group, man, you go right ahead. All right, once again, my name is Robert Owens. I'm 53 years old. I live in Paragould, Arkansas. I was born to Freddie and Judy Owens. My dad liked to be called Joe. That was his middle name. It took 3 days for me to be born. We were put in a tent. 3 days to come out of my mother's womb. And life was kind of hard from there. My parents fought all the time. There were drugs, abuses. Dad went to prison when I was like 3 or 4 years old. probably just about one of my first memories is seeing him chained up. Really, back then they shackled your ankles together, and then there was a chain from your ankles to your waist and your waist to your neck, and it was just like a traumatizing, memory. For I think I was like 3 years old. I lived with my mom for most of my life. It was a very violent home a lot of the times. I'm not saying it was all bad, but just kind of pointing at some of the bad things a little bit. I don't have any animosity toward my mother. My mother was abusive, but she had mental health issues. She was under medication back in those days for an antidepressant that was very hard, that could make you violent or even very depressed, suicidal. Nerve pills and pain pills and alcohol, and that just did not seem to mix very well. A lot of the people that she had around us was very violent on us. It was very difficult living in years growing up and developing in a state of fear. So sometimes, I'm kind of anxious, and and that also is an explanation for some of my awkward behavior, and a lot of my constant movement is just, I'm always on alert. Now, I don't say that to be disrespectful to my mother. I love her, and even though I battled with her in a lot of ways, was right, I hold nothing against her. So I just say that to say where I've come from in that aspect. And my dad, he was an addict, and that household was also very difficult. But right in the middle of that, I was spent a lot of weekends with my grandparents on my mama's side. They loved Jesus. They went to Center Hill Baptist Church for all my younger years up until I was about 16 years old, and I learned about God from there, and how to walk righteously, what sin was, and the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. I don't know, I was so disconnected and detached because I really didn't get to bond with either parent. And once again, I'm not blaming. I'm just some things I realized, good possibilities. I'm not going to say 100% sure that's not it. I don't know. It could be a personality issue. But I just know that, I've always second guessed myself. And I believe I was born again in 1979. I heard a message, and it really touched my heart. And I'm like, wow, what is this? It's not the feeling so much, but it's like this draw, this something is, motivating me emotionally. And I looked over at my grandfather, and he was very emotional. And I don't have a lot of great memory, meaning I don't remember all of it. But I do remember that I went to the altar that night, and I asked Jesus to save me from myself, and that I wanted the same love that the Father gave him, the world. John 3:16 was the verse that night. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him would not perish, but have everlasting life. So when hearing about Jesus and this great love, I wanted that. And I did the best I could for the time that I was. I mean, you're 8 years old, and you go back home, and the alcohol and the drinking and the adults fighting and getting beat up by mom's boyfriends and, all kinds of stuff. Even worse than that, but I don't want to go into grave detail because I'm not trying to glorify sin, and I'm not trying to complain here. I'm just kind of, I believe in talking about some of those things for a couple reasons. One, it kind of gives you an idea of where I've come from. Two, there's somebody here that I believe, if it's just one person that hears this, that's been through some of the things or going through the same things and stuck, that hears this and they're set free, because Jesus sets you free. We still battle. We go through stresses and we go through down times and we get angry, but God is good to bring us back to peace. And I'm thankful for that. And so I went on and kind of did my thing, and I started getting high, huffing paint at the age of 11 years old, and off and on up till I was about 24, which is not good. Straight huffing paint, huffing gas. That is probably one of the most damaging things that an individual could do, especially starting at the age of about 11. And, I would get back into church, try to do the right things, got into sports, got into playing football, living with my grandparents after coming back from foster home. And just, man, I just couldn't put, a healthy life together and keep it. And so about the age of 18, being homeless and not even having a jacket in what was one of the coldest winters in 1989, later that year, at the end of the year, I got mixed in with some folks that didn't live a great life, and I broke into a couple schools around here, and the worst thing I did was broke into the Paragould High School, and I did a lot of damage to the lounge area, and we tore the doors off, we broke into machines, we ripped locker doors off, and we walked out of there with about $700 in quarters and dimes and nickels and cash. In order to stay warm, have something to eat, and that's just how that went. That's what I did. I went to prison for that. I was 3 schools that had broken into trying to survive. Wish I'd have paid more attention and asked, hey, is anything around here we could do? Because Mission Outreach was going then. Anyway, I didn't do that. And so I was almost sentenced to 102 years. I was not, thank goodness. I had all that stuff, which was 3 burglary charges, 3 thefts, and 3 breaking and enterings, all ran concurrent under a 20-year sentence with 5 suspended on what was my first felony and my last felony that I got caught for. When you're doing drugs, you're doing things, it's illegal. It is what it is. And I just, by the grace of God, that wasn't his plan for me to go back to prison. But I did 2 years inside and 5.5 years on probation. During that time, I went, before all that, at age of 16, after I gave my life to God, the child abuse and the stuff at home got a lot worse at age 8. I come back to God at the age of 16 and was fired up and went to a church, a little Baptist church on Vine Street. Chris Bunch has gone to. It's Bible Baptist now, but I think it used to be, I can't remember what it used to be. It's there behind Hayes on Vine Street. Anyway, and then I fell off again, going back around the wrong people, huffing paint, and just getting into stuff I shouldn't got into, breaking the law. Almost got in trouble with some folks that were doing stuff while we were all together. We didn't, a handful of us didn't know. A friend of mine had killed his grandmother at that time. That was terrible. I walked away from God again, and it was worse. It just kept getting worse until I went to prison, like I just told you a minute ago. And then I got out of prison. I kept trying to, fill this void in me which I already had. I had broken the relationship with God, so I was kind of like the prodigal son. I really was a prodigal son in my own in my own life here, my own testimony, and trying to find women. I'm going to be a better dad, or I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and not working out, compromising to have those relationships, knowing that I shouldn't be in them, and then they just become a physical attraction instead of a godly thing. So from that point, I get married at age 24, 25, and still trying to find a way to live that lifestyle in such a way that, I'm filling the void myself. And 1995, I get married, and I'm about to have my first daughter. First child is a girl. And we end up at a little church called the Little Country Church out on 624 Road, I believe, or 626 Road. The Fishers, Robert and Earl Fisher. And man, God really did a wake-up call there, and it's still been the best church experience that I've ever had, and I've had a couple of other good ones. But this cycle continues because I had this relationship with God. I didn't understand, and nobody explained it to me. I wasn't discipled to how to believe that God loved me and to what great amount, and how to truly just cast my cares upon him, even though I did some preaching and this and that. And we even went out to the jail, and you can look at it in a newspaper history, the Daily Press in 1997, I believe it was. And James Danley, I believe was the sheriff then, or Dan Langston, I can't really remember. It might have been Dan Langston. And they allowed us to bring music instruments and the whole 9 yards in there. And so it made the newspaper about a concert out there at the Greene County Jail. It was meant in sarcasm, to believe, but we was just out there trying to point to Jesus, you know what I mean? And so, anyway, and so that went good. But I had put my wife on the throne of my life. And so when that fell apart, I also went right back into the same thing. And I had at that time had been on meth for a couple of years before I got into God, in that short period of time between 95 and 98. 98, I got on drugs, and very few times did I look back. I've been to Mission Teens in Savannah, Georgia. Thank you, Mission Teens. I have been to Jumpstart Ministries. Thank you, Jumpstart. And my parents ended up passing. I'm trying to shorten this up just a little bit. My parents ended up passing 3 months apart. My mom accidentally overdosed, and my dad was at his end of the 7-year run of stage 4 cirrhosis of the liver. All of his organs and stuff shut down. Before my mom died, I got to hear her pray, God, please help my children. So I know that she may have still struggled with taking medications, but she was mourning in her heart, sorrowful for what she did. And she even said in those days that out of all my kids, Robbie, me, was the most respectful. And I'm thinking, man, thank you, God, because you don't want to just think negative about your mom, in some aspects, and some people, and for some of y'all even, I'm sorry if your mom was completely evil from the moment you seen her and remembered her until the moment she went away, or she still is. But I thank God that for whatever mental health and whatever she got into, that God convicted her heart, and that she cried out to him in repentance. My dad also had a very miraculous meeting with God, and got his life to God before he died, about 8-9 months into that, before he passed away. And I'm so thankful for that. I went and backslid again, still didn't catch it. In 2014, November 24th, which is coming up, it'll be 10 years, 2024, that I have been recovered, that God has taken all those things away from me, and even took cigarettes and nicotine and all of that from me over these years. Set me completely free, because his conviction in breaking me through this sinful stuff. These outside things hurt, but the shame and regret of multiple times from the age of 16, especially, when I felt like I should know better, all the way up, 3 or 4 times that I turned away from God. And just letting him love me, and realizing I had to spend so much time being independent and alone. I just put my hands on something, get it done. And if I didn't do it, well, then I was a failure. But in the process of a lot of this, I had somebody pray for me once and hugged me really tight and said, Robbie is a good boy. Robbie is a good boy. Something I never got to hear, really when I was growing up, except for one time from my mom. And my dad, he had a lot of nice things to say too, but he was dealing with his own, terrible childhood and such. And pretty much was set free as he was about to go into the grave. And, and it's just been awesome. God has pardoned me. As I showed y'all earlier, I have a pardon up here, right here from the governor. I have a certificate where I was a court-appointed special advocate for kids in foster care. I got a hunting license there. I've got a GED. I got an award. Back there, July 2007, I was ordained. I am an ordained minister. I have started 2 ministries in Paragould, Arkansas. One is called the Lord's Refuge, and the other is Real Hope Ministries. These are men's discipleship program. Nobody else in my town has been able to do it inside the city limits. I've been able to do that twice. But through that, other ministries have been able to be birthed. And I think now there is 4 total, 2 others that's inside the city limits. Other than one is the Master's Way, the other is the Truth, and there's something called the Agape House, which has been here a long time. They've had their men's ministry just about a year less than I have. I started in 2018. I think they started in 2019, something of that nature, or maybe close together. And so, the need to take that time and invest into the individuals is just great. But God has saved me to the uttermost from the outside. I got custody of my 2 sons in 2015. 2 of my kids, I have 6 kids, 4 biological and 2 that I adopted. And I've been married almost 8 years to Jessica Owens, who may see this video. I don't know. She hears my stuff all the time. Ha ha ha. But I'm just thankful. All right. That was my testimony. I wanted to get that out there. Maybe someday. I'm praying that God opened the door and I maybe get to do that in all the CRs within a 20-mile radius or whatever's here in Greene County and where I live, a couple of counties over. And but anyway, this will go for as long as there's a Facebook. Just know that no matter how bad it is, God is greater than that. He's able to save you completely. My Bible verse for my testimony is Psalms 107. And it goes through a series of things that were somebody messed up, but God saves them. And with the end of my testimony, I want to say, thank you, Lord, because when I was bound in sin, you broke my chains and set me free. Oh, that men would just praise his name. So praise you, God. Now, the other thing in the title there, or the description of this video, is a few minutes with Rob. So what I'm going to try to do is about a 10 or 15 minute video every Sunday afternoon on a certain topic. I had a couple topics in mind. I think my topic next week will be reality check. Oh, yeah. And so what I'm hoping to do is just throw some Bible verses in there, expound on them a little bit, give you my thoughts process on that, and just kind of spend some personal time. Yes, I know it's a camera, but, I'm kind of I don't really get into titles, but if you have to go there, I'm a pastor whose desire for a church is a missionary type church. So I can do that with this social media like this and reach countries. The possibility, of course, making the video doesn't mean people are going to watch it and none of that stuff. But hey, I want to do what I can. If it changes one life, it changes one life. So that's what I will be doing. Try to do it 2-3 o'clock on Sundays in between your church services. But hey, if you're part of this, it will be here. I'm going to pin it to the top of the group, and I think I'm going to share it and to my page where I have a few more followers than we do people in the group, but it's a public group. So please, one, share the group, and then you participate just as much as me or anybody else. Share your testimony, share some Bible verses, share what God has done for you to overcome things in your life, and we're going to just be kind of a little church that's just practical and discipleship, and we're going to apply it the best we can. Hence the name, Practical Discipleship Application. I'm glad this week I'm a little more calmer. My PTSD and my brain injury did not make me willy all over the place. But I'm just thankful because I know God has changed me from the inside out. And I hope you have a great Sunday. Thank you for being here. And please share this video and share this group. Invite your friends and family. God bless you.